Check this out. So you see all this oily buildup right here on the hot side pipe. And sometimes you're probably wondering how you can avoid that and how to fix it. Not to mention what's the cause of it. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do a PCV reroute on a Duramax. Now this should go for an 01 to a 2016. Also, if you own a Cummins, you can do this as well. Not exactly this route, but there's other kits out there that you guys can use to prevent that oily buildup from happening. For most of the viewers watching my YouTube channel, you guys probably already know where I'm getting at. But if you don't know, I think this is a very must upgrade to your Duramax, because if you let this go for very long, eventually you're gonna gunk up your turbo, your intercooler parts, your intercooler, and maybe have further issues down the road, which of course can cost you thousands of dollars to fix. Not only that, I'm gonna show you a really simple upgrade on how to induce the air directly to the turbo and eliminate this resonator box. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So I'm gonna show you guys a really quick and inexpensive way to avoid that oil buildup going into your turbo and your intercooler parts. So what I have here is a PCV reroute kit. I actually sell these on the website. If you guys want to pick one up, truckmasterdiesel.com. I actually use nice high quality Gates hose and all the parts like the clamps, the O-rings, and everything you'll absolutely need to complete this job. Now, if I was to range the skill level from 0 to 10, I'd put this at a 3. This should take you under an hour to do. And if you are watching this video and you have a Cummins, I do sell the kit on the website as well. But let's talk really quick why this happens. So like I talked about, you have your resonator box or your air box. And what the resonator or air box does is it dampens the noise when you're inducing the air into your intake at, of course, high acceleration or even at idle. I mean, it may look cool, but when you remove it, you have so much more room for activities when you can actually get rid of this entire air box. And not only that, when you block it off, you're inducing the air in one direct shot into your turbo versus it swirling around in this air box. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove this air box right now and show you guys exactly why that buildup happens and how you guys can prevent it. I have a T27 Torx bit. So once you've done that, you're gonna go ahead and just pull back like that, and it'll come right out. And here's exactly what I'm talking about. I didn't put the O-ring on it yet, but basically it just drops right in and blocks that completely. And like I said, one direct shot from the intake right down into the turbo. Now getting a better look here, this is actually your turbo. There's your turbo feed line, and this is your turbo compressor housing connected to your hot side intercooler pipe. And all that residue and all that buildup right there, believe it or not, is inducing right back into your turbo. And how is that possible? And the reason why that happens is because of the crankcase vapors on both sides of the engine. Essentially what's going on is while the engine is running, you're gonna build up crankcase pressure, and it's also gonna turn into vapors. Those vapors are going to enter right into your intake and burn right through your turbo. But back to the air box, if you guys just wanna do something simple like that, just remove it, put that right there. It probably takes under 5 minutes to do. It's super easy. But that's not gonna fix your problem. It's just gonna help breathe better. That's pretty much it. Especially if you have an 01 to a 2005 Duramax. And just to get an idea here, with your air filter, it's supposed to filter the air, right? And once it gets right through here, but unfortunately, it's not really doing much when you got oil vapors. You see that? That's going into your turbo, and of course, affecting everything else, your hot side, your cold side, and your intercooler. You know, I've seen it many times where turbos will fail, vanes will stick. Amongst the engine just burning diesel, one of the most important components in this engine, in my opinion, is the turbo, because that's where you get your power. So let me go ahead and remove this intake and show you guys what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that. I bet you it looks nasty. Let's go ahead and pull it right now. You don't have to remove the entire intake, just this part right here, this elbow. Flathead screwdriver, like I said, 8mm socket. So moving on to the passenger side of the vehicle, once you remove that intake elbow, you're gonna have this 10mm bolt here. If you were to follow that all the way over, it connects to the mouthpiece and it just keeps going all the way to the other side of the crankcase ventilation. When both bolts are removed on each side, you're gonna squeeze that clamp together and this entire thing should simply pull right out. And that is it. Also keep in mind, you're gonna be reusing both bolts on each side for the new kit. Go ahead and remove the fitting from the valve cover. And then I'm gonna work my way on over here and remove this clamp on the top. This is that squeeze clamp. You're gonna use some needle nose pliers. And that's pretty much it. You know, go ahead and just squeeze these two tabs together and then pull back. So now we have this entire thing right here freed up. So I guess the next thing we're gonna go ahead and do is get back here, which is the hardest part, the driver's side. What I like to do is remove these two top connectors. Just pull back on this tab, push down, and then pull back. And that's it. We're gonna go ahead and do the bottom one, only because it's in the way. That little bolt right there, that's the 10mm. Go ahead and remove that. And go ahead and pull back on that tube, and this entire unit right here should remove. And that's it. That's what I'm talking about right there. All that oil is seeping right outside of that intercooler boot. That's what's causing your problem. You see, if you can eliminate that, you'll never have an issue again. And this is the hole right here that we're gonna plug up as well, which comes with the kit. Now back on the bench, we're gonna go ahead and take that O-ring, install it on the resonator plug, and install it on the PCV tube that connected to that mouthpiece. This little fitting is extremely important, so we're gonna go ahead and plug this in right now. Go ahead and take your 5/8 hose, and I always just like to make it even right in the middle, and we're gonna go ahead and cut right here in the center. And now you have your two halves. With this old line right here, you're gonna have the end fitting. This fitting will replace that. The way this works is you take your O-ring, go ahead and install it. Once you've done that, you're gonna take the supplied clamp, put it around the hose, and then you're gonna go ahead and take your fitting, barb side, and then plumb it right into the hose, and that's it. Once you've done that, you're gonna connect it to the valve covers, and then you're gonna route this hose so it doesn't touch anything. It doesn't touch any manifolds, steering shafts, anything that spins, anything that gets hot or melts. But you don't have to install it all at once like that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and install this fitting first in the engine bay, and then I'll go ahead and plumb it and then tighten the clamp. That's it. So let's go ahead and do that. This will be pretty tight, so just go ahead and use some force and push it down in there. That's it. That will not come out at all, I guarantee it. Go ahead and take that old bolt, route it right in there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and install this fitting right now. Once you've done that, go ahead and put some WD-40 around the O-ring and kind of lightly tap on that. It doesn't have to be all the way flush because once you screw this in, it's gonna level everything out. After tightening that bolt, we are good to go. You don't have to go crazy on that bolt. And then once you've done that, tighten up that clamp. And then we're gonna go ahead and feed our hose down the frame rail. Now that we have that clamped to the fitting, I'm gonna go ahead and route this all the way down to the frame. The passenger side is always the easiest. But when you're pulling the excess, just pay close attention to the hose anywhere close to that hot manifold because this could burn up. So be careful. Now I did say you don't have to remove the hot side pipe. It will definitely be in the way. It'll make your life so much easier if you remove it, but you really don't have to. All you gotta do is take a flathead screwdriver, put it sort of on the corner of that fitting, and just lightly tap it and it'll set right back in place. And go ahead and put your bolt in, secure it down. We'll go ahead and put the hose on this fitting. Go ahead and snug up that clamp. I'm using a little 8mm ratchet wrench. These things work perfect for these tiny spots. And this is what the finished product looks like. I went ahead and zip tied everything all the way down to the frame rail going back. So that's what the other side is. Make sure that the lines aren't kinked though when you pull these back right here. You don't want any kinks whatsoever. I don't know why, but I've seen some people actually connect hose one end to the other and then you blow your turbo. So don't do that, guys. Just make sure that you vent this stuff off. And I'm not saying that because it could happen. It actually has happened. People connect valve cover to valve cover for some reason. I don't know why. Some of you guys are probably wondering what's going on up underneath here, but that's where it ends. I went ahead and zip tied it. You could put a catch can on each side of it. It's up to you. It will have a little bit of residual oil that's gonna drip out of there over time. And again, I'd rather you guys have that issue than it being induced back into your turbo. I did clean the boots a little bit. It definitely looks a lot better, but we will see over time. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this part back on there, fire it up, and we should be good to go. So I call this video a success. I do appreciate you guys watching the channel. As always, definitely leave me a like if this video was helpful. And if you have a PCV reroute on your diesel, let us know in the comments. Let us know how that's working out for you. Again, I will leave that link in the description, truckmasterdiesel.com. I do sell those kits online as well, but I will keep you guys updated. But until next time, we'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned.